Well, thank you for joining us on Let the Healing Begin podcast. I'm your host, Asia. And today we have Sammy Farrens, who is a master coach, a professional speaker, and also an author. He's the author of Broken Gratitude. He started his business. He started on TikTok about business, but has transitioned over to mental health. He helps people navigate and discover. He helps people discover the life of gratitude while navigating chaos. How you doing, Sammy?
Good. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Lovely to have you on the show.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. It keeps me inside. Normally I'm an outside person, but today we're getting like 50 and 60 mile per hour gusts. So
Oh, wow.
I'm grateful to be here with you and not blowing away somewhere.
I'm grateful to have you here. So we'll dive right in without further ado. So you want to give us a little background about yourself, like about your childhood and stuff like that, and just a little, background.
Yeah. No, I'm old. No, I grew up in a small town in central Missouri, and had a mom who was in a wheelchair. She had polio her whole life, and so with that, my life growing up was a lot different than most kids. We didn't, it wasn't like I could go, "Hey mom, let's go do this," or "Hey mom, let's go do that." It limited a lot of what we were able to do as a family and as a kid and different things. But it was never a holdback. We still went to the park. We still went to church. We still lived a life. And, that was, but it was definitely different, and taught my kids how to be different around handicapped people and different things like that. So I'm very proud of that. Graduated high school, went off to the Army, and that was a whole different experience. I've really not left the small town much. So going in the Army and going off and seeing the world, that was a total different experience.
And then, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. How long were you in the Army for?
The first time I was in for about 3.5 years. And then I actually did another stint for 1 year in 2010. I went back in for just a 1 year thing. I was helping new soldiers train on old equipment. So in total, I guess you'd say 4 years.
Okay. And whereabouts were you stationed at?
I started out basic training at Fort Benning, good old Georgia, down there with the red clay and the big red ants. And went over to Fort Hood, Texas, and then did a stint over in Korea, and did a lot of traveling. I was infantry, so we trained in a lot of different places. Went out to California, went to Louisiana, went to Germany. So, got to see the world.
For your service.
Oh, yep. So, and then after the Army, I pretty much goofed around for a little bit, and then got into construction, and that has been my life up until this moment. And a couple of years ago, about 5 years ago, actually, I decided to really delve into the personal development. And, I love sales. I love business. And that's what I wanted to help people with. And about a year or so ago, I started a TikTok and to do business, to do sales. And instead, the mental health community really reached out to me. And that has been a blessing in my life. And it was something I never knew would be. And now that it is what I live for. So, it's a weird road we travel, but somehow or another we find a path.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you this. With the whole mental health aspect, with you being in the Army, did you ever experience any like PTSD or anything like that from being in the Army?
No, I can't say. Do I have certain things that trigger me? Yes. I don't know. With me and the military thing, I'm actually speaking at a conference here in a couple weeks. I feel like a lot of soldiers, veterans, are like myself as far as we got problems. We got things that happen that are going on, and the VA makes it so hard to get assistance. The VA, the government, whatever you want to call it, it's so hard to get assistance and then to get the correct assistance a lot of times that if you don't have somebody helping you right there from step one, you give up. You know, me, I've tried 2 different times to get some different assistance, and both times it was like I just got to run around, and so I did. I just gave up. When you can get the services and you get the whatever all that you can get, it's worth it. I mean, it really is. But a lot of people don't. I mean, I've got a computer. I've got ways to do it. I've got people to talk to, and it's still super challenging. I can't imagine a veteran that's out there struggling so bad, struggling with the PTSD, struggling with being such an introvert because of maybe things that have happened. They're not reaching out. They're not going to go look for the help. And the help that they do find, if it's at all, again, the word that keeps coming to my mind is struggle. They give up. They're like, look, man, I can't handle doing this.
Yep. And just the stress of such a big transition, being in the Army and, having to come back on the streets, still dealing with the trauma of being, out there like that and all the events that you see taking place and just everything that comes with that. And then having to come home and struggle, that's really sad. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. And there's so many other people that are also going through that. I hear stories all the time, about veterans being homeless and just different things that shouldn't even be a part of today's society,
Yeah.
And it's very unfortunate. Like you said, people just give up, after so long, because it's like some people just, they're already going through enough. So why would I want to?
And it's one of those. So the topic that I'm going to speak on here at this Veterans Health Conference here in a couple of weeks is from the moment that military, you go in the military, you're on a mission. Like that's literally how they train you. They take away all the training that you've had up until that point from growing up and in life, whatever it was before that. They take that away and they say, hey, we have a mission. And your mission is this. And day after day after day, you live a mission. Fast forward to whenever you get out, no matter how long a time that is, going through basic training and your AIT training and whatever else training, you've literally been retrained that a mission is your life. And again, fast forward to the end of that service, and they say, okay, well, go out in the world now and just live life. Well, the mission's over. Once you come out here into the civilian world, there's no more mission. There's no day to day. What do I need to do today that has to be done? I describe it like this. When you get in the civilian world, they say it's a goal. Mm-hmm. And a goal to me is something that, while it's a great thing, I want people to have goals. Those are hopes and dreams and wishes. Well, man, I hope I get that. That's my goal. And I wish that I get my goal. Missions in military are taught there have to be's. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no excuses. It has to be done. And you take that away from a person after that's the life they lived. Well, yeah, they're going to have trauma. They're going to have loss, confusion. They don't know. And I feel like that's a big part of the suicide problem is just that. I'm confused. I don't have a mission no more. So why am I needed? Mm-hmm. And that's the way they feel. And unfortunately, and I say this with love, families try to reach out with this person, moms, dad, brothers, sisters, wives, husbands. and they try to come from a place of love, which is great. You do need that. But this person that just lived a life of missions and went through different things that most people can't even fathom, they don't need somebody to just love them. They need somebody that truly understands them, speaks in their language, knows their mindset, understands what they are going through, and a person that loves you just can't do that. And so again, it goes back to, I don't have a mission and nobody understands me. Why am I needed in this world? And next thing you know, they're taking their life. And it's just, my goal isn't to lower the number of suicides. It's to eliminate it.
Absolutely. Because even one is too many.
Yes.
Even one is too many. Oftentimes, we try to help people, but it's so hard for people to be helped when it's coming from someone who doesn't have the same lived experience as them. Because that right there creates a blockage of, you don't understand me. You don't, how can you even understand that the correct help that I need if you don't know what I'm feeling, or if you don't know what I've been through? So I think that it's best, like I totally appreciate the work that you do, because number one, like mental health is one of the most, like the highest displaced populations right now, the mental health community. And oftentimes I'd speak about my experience like during incarceration, and like here where I am, they've shut down a lot of the mental health institutions, and now they house those people in jails, which is like no place for people with mental health issues.
No,
jail is not they're not getting the help they need. They need, to be stabilized, and in jail you can't do that. You can't even like find peace to even become stabilized in incarceration.
No, and it's, I know me and you had talked a little while back. I've really been looking forward to this podcast. Again, thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you.
But it's the transition when you're getting out of the military, the transition from going from incarceration to being back out in public. There is none. And then we're just expected to go out here and literally it's like they just pat you on the back and go, hey, good luck. And whatever happens. And it's like, no, you wonder why people go back to being incarcerated, why they go back to jail. Well, a lot of times, unfortunately, that's where people are understood. Those are my people. They understand what I'm going through. They understand my mindset. So as much as we hate it, that's a lot of times what's going on there is they're going back to what they know. And
absolutely. And you know what else too? A lot of people don't have like real families. We're all birthed into families, right? And we don't get to choose the families that we're birthed into. But just because I'm birthed into a specific bloodline I feel like does not make these people my family. Family comes from where I'm valued at, where I'm heard, and things like that. And oftentimes in these jails, these prisons, we find the people that are just like us, like-minded, that have a lack of family. Honestly, like when I was incarcerated, I met some of the best people that I've ever met that were just in unforeseen circumstances, or a couple of women would just keep reoffending to go back like purposefully because they didn't have home, they didn't have family and things like that. So they would reoffend to be reincarcerated, to have a place to sleep, a place to shower, and a place to receive a free meal, and it's sad under those circumstances, but yeah, that's absolutely correct. That's absolutely right.
The system's broke, and whichever system you want to pick, I think there's a whole lot of systems. Our education system's broke. Our schooling system's broke. College system's broke. Jail system's broke. And it's for us that are out here trying to help and do the right thing and lead people in a positive direction. Boy, it really is. It's hard to do when everything's fighting against you. It
is extremely hard, and it's so much work to do. Honestly, like you said, it's a bunch of systems, and they've all been created to work exactly the way that they work, um,
Mm-hmm.
which is to keep people oppressed, to keep people, the ways
Oh
that
yeah.
is keeping people down. They don't want us to wake up or to join, unified and break out of their, the matrix. And it's
Yeah.
so
It's
sad.
Aisha, I tell you this, I heard this years ago, and as I've gotten older, it really has kicked in, and I understand it now more than anything. And it's this here, and I hope that everybody listen to this. If you get anything out of this podcast, listen to this, what I'm about to tell you. If you want to control a people, keep them sick and broke, and you have the control. And you look at our
Absolutely.
systems, the way that they are set up, what do? They make us live off of drugs, and they keep us poor.
Yep.
And
And then they
and
come through every now and then with a with a solution, to make us feel like we need them.
yeah, yeah,
They come through with this
and
big
they've kept
solution.
us, and it's like if you dig a hole 20 foot deep and throw somebody in it, and you keep them down there, if you give them a ladder that's 5 foot tall, they feel like they're accomplishing something. But the reality is they're still in the hole.
Mm-hmm. Now
You
that
know,
was good. That was good. Not good to say, what they're doing to us, but that was a good way to put it. Absolutely. That's exactly what it's like. And you know what? I'm finishing up a sociology class, right? And this is like proven. It's written in the books, like the way the system is set up. And it's like, what's that good saying that they used to say? If you want to find something or you want to hide something, hide it in a book. Didn't we just discuss that the other day?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
That's and it is crazy because it's out here. Uh, Success is all around us. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's the life you want. It's right there. Is it easy? No, it's a struggle. Where we help each other in overcoming that struggle is through each other's stories. Is through, I've went through stuff that you've never went through, but you might one day.
Mm-hmm.
And how cool is it that me and you have made a connection that if you, knowing my story, start to go through that, you have somebody to reach out to
Mm-hmm.
that can, it's through our stories, through our hardships, through our pains, through our glories and our greatness. That's how we help each other.
Yep.
And it's, again, if you keep people always in that negativity, then they never look out for, they never find the help because, well, everything around them is negative,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
and,
And
it's,
you know what? Honestly, like, so what you just said, like, I literally had to find it in myself, and I'm not saying I did it alone because it's only God that gives me the grace and the strength to do everything that I do. But I became in a situation like just in life in general where I got just really sick and tired of being sick and tired, you know,
yeah.
um, and just really to to the point where I could only look to God for help because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have, everybody that was around me, family, friends, all that, um, would act like they were positive reinforcement, but when it really came down to it, when I really was in need, they were not there. And if they were,
Mm-hmm.
it was just, you know, um, either thrown back in your face or something like that. And
Yeah.
it was literally, I found TikTok and started watching video,
I love the
started
TikTok.
started watching videos that were inspiring me, and just, I felt like I was hearing different messages from God and just different things. And then once I got off into that, um, God led me to get on there and, start telling my story. And
Mm-hmm.
it has been uncomfortable, but so many people have came to me and they're like, and not just on TikTok, but like Facebook and just different platforms. Just telling me when you share your story, you don't even understand how much this helps. And I've
Yeah.
seen other people share their story too, where it's helped me, because when we're in these positions, in these places and spaces in our lives, a lot of times it can just feel like impossible. And so
Yeah.
when we hear
Always
another
remember,
person's story,
I tell you, always remember this. Your story is somebody else's strength.
now that's good. I like that. I'm gonna write that down.
But it's so true. I mean, that's, you know, uh, again, I go, I've been through so much stuff um, that, and what you'll find is, so I can talk about, say, like gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the whole basis of the book is the gratitude and to put yourself first and to understand that that's okay. And while it'll feel uncomfortable, and that's because you've never done it, and it'll feel selfish, and you'll get told it's selfish. I just say, good, be selfish,
Mm-hmm. Sometimes
because
we have to be.
oh, you do, and what you'll find is in that selfishness per se, as you fill yourself up, it flows over into other people.
Yep.
And man, if that's a selfish thing, well, great, let me be selfish because I want to fill up all those around me. You know,
Absolutely. And you know what? A common mistake that I see and that I've made too in my life is sometimes like we pour from within when we're not full. And really, what we should be doing is pouring from the overflow so that we're not deprived of anything.
see, and I
Um,
love what you just said that because that embodies the whole thing. It's not to pour from where you're not full. It's to pour from your overflow. God,
mhm.
oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna record that and I'm gonna put that down. We got some good stuff going on here. I
I
like
know.
this.
I was just, I like this. I like this for both of us. So let me ask you this. So when you originally had posted the TikTok video, the one that started bringing people in towards you about mental health, what was that video around? Like, what was it? What was in that going on in that particular video?
Uh, I don't know that it was one video because
Uh,
I literally I post 3 to 5 videos a day. Um, it was more of I just because I do a lot of mindset stuff.
okay,
Well, mindset. While I talk, I can say something about business. It flows right over into regular day life.
okay,
You know, to succeed in business is to succeed in life, and vice versa. You know, so I really, I'll be honest with you, I couldn't tell you which exact video it was. Um, I, I did a video, and one video I did, um, again, this was a mindset thing, and it's just to know that you're enough, and it's if I ask you to write down everything that you love, how long would it take to write down yourself?
are you asking me that personally?
Well, no, well, I am, but at the same
Oh,
time, that was the video. So yeah,
okay.
yeah. Now,
Um, these days it doesn't take that long. I will put of course God first, and then I will put myself next.
beautiful,
Because in order for
beautiful,
me to
beautiful.
love anyone else outside of God and myself, like it has to start with me first. It
Yeah,
has to start with me first. The same things that we want from other people, we have to get that established within ourselves so that we can know what it is to give those things and receive them. And it took me a really long time to get to the place where I love myself. I thought that I did a long time ago, but I was so saturated in drugs and alcohol, I wouldn't be perceptive to real love.
yeah.
And only by the grace of God, God has shown me what love feels like.
Oh
And
yeah,
not just what it feels like, what it is to like love others too.
yeah. That's and to me that kind of it goes into the whole gratitude part. It's the love, the gratitude is to understand that in the Bible it says you are the gift. Like we are the gift, and that gift is the gift of gratitude, the gift of love, and to understand that, yeah, it's um, well. Here, I had the kind of like what you just said. I had this discussion with my mom when a few years ago, or a few years before she had passed away, and it was something to the effect of her love for me and my sister. And she said, "Well, here I'm going to tell you right now that you're not number one on my list. You know, you're third, maybe even fourth."
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, because that's what we hear so
Yeah.
much. Well, I love my kids more than I love myself. And
Mhm.
here I am talking to my own mom, and she's like, no, you're not first. And she did say, she said, God is first. God
Mhm.
is my number one love, because without him, I'm nothing.
Mhm.
And she goes, and I'm second, because
Mhm.
that way I can give to you guys, and then you guys would come. And I was like, whoa, you know, and it's again, in that moment, I did. I remember I said, well, man, that's selfish. Gosh, dang, thanks, mom. And she's like, she did. She said, well, I hope someday you understand that,
Mhm.
you know, and
And you know what? It's crazy because a lot of the things that we're taught when we're young, like it sounds like this. Your mother was this type of woman as well as my mom too. A lot of the stuff that she taught me when I was young, I didn't understand it, or I would get so sick and tired of hearing it. But now I'm older, as I'm aging, I'm like, now this makes perfect sense. That was some good information she was giving back then, and I'm so grateful for it.
yeah,
It would be times when my mom would say, don't let people use you all up. Or if you don't really want to do something for a person, don't do it. Because, even when you're upset, don't throw it back in their face. If you're not doing it from a good place, within your heart, then don't do it at all. Or she would tell me, when you find good friends, you hold on to them. And if you guys have a falling out, don't go telling their business. They trusted you to tell you the stuff that mean the most to them or that are they're feeling deeply about. Don't go let that go, in the heat of a moment. Be loyal, be, a good person. It would
yeah.
just be different things like that didn't really make a whole lot of sense back then, but now they add so much value to my life, and now I'm passing it on to my child too. So I'm definitely grateful for, the things that we're taught.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way. I can coincide with what you just said. It's looking back, I can see that my mom taught me gratitude. She showed love, like with all she had. She taught me a life of respect and honor. But the gratitude thing, while I can again look back and say that was her life lesson for me, I didn't fully learn that lesson until I was holding her hand when she passed away.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah, no, um, it's with that loss that I get to be who I am today. And my
Hmm.
mom, I know she's proud of me. So,
That's
you know,
amazing.
it's, a loss, that's part of life. Um,
Hmm.
think of her every day, miss her every day, talk to her every day. And that's what makes me, you know, I'm okay. I
Hmm.
dealt with it. I moved through it. Uh, you don't ever, I always hate it when people say, well, just, you got to get over it. Well, there's no getting over certain things. you know, you,
Absolutely.
you, you, you move through it and you learn how to deal with it. And my way of dealing with it is literally just knowing that she's with me every day. And that's my gratitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you something else. So after the passing of your mother, um, what would you say was the bump in the road that made you transition, or what was it that had you start transitioning into the life of gratitude?
Um, well, we're hardheads as humans. It takes a while. Uh, holding her hand, with her never walking in her life, always being restricted to a wheelchair and a leg brace and things. I knew in the moment that she passed that mom could walk then, that she could run and she could do everything that she couldn't do here. And I was so grateful for God to bless her with that. And then it was, you start seeing things a little different. And then in 2000, mom passed away in 2008. In 2014, I was actually ran over by a diesel truck. Um, like literally the whole 56-foot trailer ran over top of my truck and completely smashed one side. And I walked away without a scratch. And
That's
I'm
nothing
like,
but God.
yeah, oh, it was total God.
Hmm.
And again, that's my gratitude is okay. All right, God, you got me here.
For a
and I,
reason.
yep. And I don't know that reason. And it's just trust the process, trust that he does have a vision for you, and he wants the best life for you. He wants the greatest parts of you to come out, and you have to trust that you're going to go through some hard stuff to get there. The only way to achieve your greatness is to go through your worstest.
Absolutely. What do they say? Diamonds? No, pressure produces diamonds. That's 100% accurate, because as long as we're in a comfortable space, we don't thrive for, like, we don't even know what we're capable of until put into these uncomfortable situations where you have no choice but to push through.
Yeah, and it's well, I say the Army's taught me a big part of that is your capabilities, and then throughout life. But really, the Army did a lot of that for me. Is you don't know that you can walk 5 miles with 40 pounds on your back and carrying 20 more pounds with a rifle, and you do it, and quarter of the way through you feel like you're dying, and you just keep pushing through it, and you get done and you say, holy crap, I did it, and it was worth it, and I'm so proud of me. And then you start doing that through your life. In business, when I first opened up my painting company, I couldn't tell you how many people were like, hey man, good job, we're proud of you, but we really don't see this happening for you. Like, you're good at doing this, but we just don't know if you're smart enough, you don't have the experience, you don't have. And again, and here's the crazy part, I want everybody to hear this. These were people that loved me. These were people that said, we believe in you, but, and what I found was I was going to achieve this. And it was so I could say, look what I did.
Yep.
And then you get to a point where you've achieved a success to a point, and then you go, you know what, this ain't about them no more. This is about me and pushing myself to go further than I thought I could.
Yep.
And
you know what I've learned? What I've learned over the years is, like, because I've had that happen to me, the people that you love and care about the most, when you got this dream and this vision of something that you want to birth, and then you share with these people, and they'll shoot it right out the sky, right? And so what I've learned is, like, over the course of the years, like, if I'm working on something, just to keep it to myself. And I've learned this the hard way, because, like you said, the people that I love are the main ones that are, I don't see it coming to fruition. Or, are you sure you can do this? Or, are you sure? Or, what about this? And it's just like, and that hurts. That hurts the people that you want to celebrate with you, or, just to be there along the journey, are the main ones.
And a lot of times, and again, I go back to most times they're going to come from a place of love, but what they're coming from is a place of commonality. This is the way life's supposed to be. This is the way. This is what's your last name? Your last name doesn't mean success. We weren't raised like this. This isn't what we were taught. You live in this neighborhood. This is all we're good for. And so to step outside of those boundaries, while those loved ones, they say, ooh, okay, we want to see you succeed. You're going outside the boundary. Like, oh boy, We'll see you when you get back inside the boundary, when you get back inside the box.
I'm sorry. It's not funny, because it's really sad that we're conditioned this way in society and within our families to live inside this cultural norm. And like you said, when we decide to step out this box, we're deviating from the whole, like, norm. And it's just, it's a lonely journey. It's a lonely journey, but it's so worth it, and it's so rewarding. Like,
you know what the biggest, for most kids, what the biggest lie they're ever told is?
What's that?
You can be whatever you want when you grow up. And here's why. Because nobody shows them. Because the person that says it doesn't chase their dreams, doesn't go after their best, their greatness, their everything. Hey, we want you can be whatever you want when you grow up. All right, well, show me. Somebody
Mm-hmm.
show me what does that look like? What is that even? What is that? And nobody shows them. And that's why when you step out of the box and you actually go after your dreams and after your best life, people freak out because wait a minute,
Mm-hmm.
this ain't the way it's supposed to be.
Yep.
I was only kidding around when I said, hey, you could really be all you want.
Yep.
And that's a sad thing. But with my speaking business and my painting, and I've been successful in the painting industry,
Mm-hmm.
but now in the speaking industry, I've got grandkids now and my kids, but my grandkids, I really look at them and that's my why is I want these grandkids of mine. I want these other kids that even live around me to go, dang, look at Sammy, look at Grandpa, look at Pop Pop. Holy crap, he's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And when he tells me that I can do it, I believe I can because somebody's showing me that whatever I want, I can go do. And so that's a big why for me is to not tell that lie.
Yeah.
To breathe.
Absolutely. And you know what, like you said, because I see a lot of that in the line of work that I'm in. I see a lot of like people that just have never had that type of structure, had never had someone sit down with them, show them even the like basic life skills, or even set any type of an example, like, no structure, no boundaries, none of that. So it's like now as adults, they're lost and they're having kids, and it's like the we have to break out of that. We have to. So that's the why as to like the way I am with my son on my parenting. I parent way different from the way that I was raised, because I want my son to have the same things that I wished that I had, and also like I want him to see that the sky isn't even the limit. So like when I work, I take him to work with me a lot so that he can see, on this side of, because I work in the criminal justice advocacy like lane. So I want him to see this side of things instead of being, on the other side, and see that if you really work hard, things, as long as you're consistent, and it is going to be some hard days, because he's seen me have some rough days, and those it's just the way that life happens. But, you can't stay there. You got to keep pushing.
Yeah.
And so.
And I always say this at the end of it, it's completely worth it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It
Absolutely.
is. I mean, my book, it's coming out. It's supposed to be this next Friday. I signed all the final documents and all that stuff. So it should be. They told me it'd be 3 to 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
But speaking of that, I did a video about that, and it was even just writing the book. I mean, it took me 5 months just to write the book. And now here, I'll tell you, it's a 50, 52, 53 page book. So it's not that long. It's not that big, but it's still, it took me sitting right where I'm sitting right now, smiling, crying, getting frustrated, getting mad, getting happy, going through all the emotions to write this book. Cause I didn't want to just write a book and okay, yay, look me, I wrote a book. No, I wanted it to mean something. And then you go, because I've never wrote a book before, so that's a whole process. And then you start going through the editing, and they want you to do this, and you want them to do that, and we went back and forth for probably 2 more months, and the publishing, and now you got to get things set up for Amazon and the websites and I will tell you, there's 2 moments, and I've only went through one so far. When I wrote the last word of the last paragraph of the last sentence of that book, and I knew, okay, that's the last word, and this book's done. It was completely worth it. I mean, I literally, it was like a load came off of me. When I get that phone call that says, Sammy, you are now an officially published author. Thank you. Uh, I'll get that feeling again. I know I will.
Mm-hmm.
And it's completely worth it. But
Yep.
to get to that for a 50-page book,
Yeah.
it will have taken me a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how many people would have given up? How many people would have
A
said, this is
lot.
too hard?
Yep.
This ain't worth it. This is not. And unfortunately, I'm not allowed to be an author. Who do I think I am? You know, it's everything. This little brain will fight in every way. And I fought that fight. I fought that fight for a year. And this next week, I get to say it was completely worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody listening, it's completely worth it.
It is.
It's going to suck, but it's also going to be amazing and awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Especially once they get printed and you sit there and you look like, I can't believe I wrote this book. I can't believe I wrote this book. It was something else I was going to ask you. So let me ask you this. So what you want to give us a briefing about what your book is about?
So the book it's 6 chapters. It's a nice short read. Literally it's 50 some pages. What it is the first chapter is how I came to gratitude. So it's my story of my mom and her life and then me. But the next 5 chapters are 5 different lessons and things that you can implement in your life to come to a life of gratitude and put yourself first. You know, everything from the way you talk to yourself, like the words that come out of your mouth. You are the only person in the world that has heard every word that's ever come out of your mouth.
Yep.
You are also the only person that's ever heard every thought that's went through your head. So you are the only person that can change that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can. You know, it's eliminate the word can't. I'm 5'6", 48 years old, 210 pounds, chubby little guy, and I can slam a basketball. I'm going to need Aisha's help, but I can do it. We're going to get it done somehow.
I got you.
And it's evaluate. Another chapter is evaluate your environment. And this is literally, where are you at in the world? Is this where you want to be right now? Where I live isn't my final destination.
Yep.
But it's okay now. It's gotten me to here, so I'm good. But where do I want to be? And then it's, how cool is it that I can go visit the places that I want to go live?
Yes.
You know, so go do that. Go put yourself, this is where like the whole vision boards and, this putting yourself in that place, your environment, that's where you want to go. Here's the hardest part about the environment. We've talked a lot about this already. It's who are you around? Your environment has everything to do with who you're around. And you, to achieve your peace of mind, to your peace of life, to fill yourself full of gratitude and put yourself first, sometimes you have to love people from a distance. And it's going to be mom, dad, brother, sister, kids. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that you cut them out. It doesn't mean you say, hey, you can't be around me ever. It's, you learn your limitations with them. You have to put those boundaries up and stick to them. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's not an easy thing to do, but that's part of it. I can't be around. I've got an uncle that's like super negative. Like the dude is just negative as all get out. He comes around and the whole energy in the room just drops. Mm-hmm. I can't be around him. I love him. If he called me up right now and said he had a flat tire and needed some help, I'd go help him. Absolutely. But I know my limitations with him. I know I have a certain time limit that he's allowed around my presence. Yeah. You know, that is a very hard lesson for people to learn. But man, it pays dividends beyond money or anything. You know, it pays dividends in your life. And another, probably the last chapter and the hardest thing of all is to just be honest with yourself. You know, we're the only ones that's heard everything we've ever said.
Mm-hmm.
So we're the only ones that know exactly every one of our lies.
Yep.
If you say you want to get in shape, but man, I just can't get off the couch because of excuse. Those are lies. Those are lies. And you know they're lies. We know they're lies. I know they're lies. I've told them. Yep. Be honest with yourself and watch your whole life change just with that honesty. Watch it change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like everything starts like within self. That's one of the biggest things. Like that's one of the first steps. Like you got to get right with yourself in order, and you got to be honest. How can you operate trying to produce any fruit in a dishonest way? Like, you know, nothing's going to come of that, and you're not going to get anywhere. You're like running yourself around in circles pretty much. And sometimes like it's really hard to be honest with yourself, but it helps you map out like, okay, if I want to lose this weight, then let me be honest. I got to stop, you know, like I'm the cause of all the weight gain, you know, unless it's like a medical condition or something like that. And that's just for an example. But like, you got to be real. Like I'm eating trashy. I'm not, you know, moving around enough or whatever it may look like for different people. You know, and then really like sitting back, looking at who we have in our space, our mindset, like, you know, our outlook, being honest, and then also like shifting your mindset to look at, to try to find something positive in every situation. Like that's helped me immensely. Like starting with those two things, and then no matter like what it looks like, try to be productive every single day. Like those three things, implementing those three things in my life have.
See, I'm gonna, and this is where paying attention to our language, you know, what comes out of our mouth and what goes through our brain. And I know you didn't mean it, but this is a word play, but it's a powerful word play. What you just said was try to do something great every day.
Instead of just doing it.
Never try. You either do or don't. But trying, because trying is a big excuse. And again, I know you didn't mean to, but I thought that was
that was a good catch.
See, I listen.
No, that's good.
That's the next book, gets to be the active listener.
Ooh, that's a real good one. Yeah.
Oh man, but it is.
You know what
eliminate that word try. You know, not just you, but we'll use that word because it's a good excuse. Well, I tried. Did you really?
Yeah. Try again. We'll keep doing until something happens.
Yeah. Quit
like
trying and keep doing. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? The whole, like, I'm so proud of you, like, with just in the things that you sat here and told me. And when we talked before, like, because a lot of people will use like childhood situations or like the loss of a loved one, and not to discount anything that anybody goes through, because I'm familiar with the hurt and the pain that comes with all that too. But the fact that you are using those things like to slingshot you into greatness, you know, oftentimes like
I have to ask myself a lot of times, is this going to be my excuse or is this going to be what empowers me? And it's up to me. I get to make that decision.
Absolutely.
And it's, and I will say this, when you go through something, depending on what it is, what tragedy or whatever, you know, losing a loved one, I don't know, whatever your tragedy is, there is a certain time to use it for an excuse, because it is an excuse and it should be, and it's allowed. But eventually you got to let it empower you, because it happened for you, not to you.
That's deep. That's deep.
So.
Absolutely. Oh, that was deep. I like that. I like that. Seriously, because you know what? Honestly, like, I lost my mother too. It'll be 4 years in September. And like you said, we're human and we're hard-headed. And so for the first all the way up until last year, I was like just a hot mess, really, to sum everything up. I was a hot mess. But now that I'm sober minded, clear minded, and all that good stuff, and really like working on me, like I going into this year, I'm like, I'm investing everything I've put into everybody for so long. Now it's getting poured into me because, prior to this, I was so empty. And
Yeah.
it's just like, now I'm sorry, you guys, but I'm not sorry. I gotta take a step back from your needs, wants, feelings, emotions, all this good stuff. I helped as long as I could. I did as much as I could. And now I have to fill me up because if not, I'm gonna wreck out somewhere. Like
Oh
I'm gonna
yeah.
be, no good.
Well, it's like you said earlier. You got to fill others from an overflowing cup.
Hmm.
And if your cup's not full,
Hmm.
I'm sorry. You're right. I can't give you everything that I have because I ain't really got nothing right now. I don't
Yep.
have the strength. I don't have the power. I don't have the mentality. I don't have the
Yep.
love. I don't have happiness. I cannot
Hmm.
give you these things which I do not have.
Yep. And you know what?
You
God
know,
has shown me how to put boundaries on people, like whether it's loved ones, friends, family. He's helped me establish those boundaries. Um, like you said, because if I'm lacking in one area, how can I give you something that I don't have? Like it's just impossible. It's
yeah,
impossible. It
yeah,
is
yeah,
impossible. So I've learned, and it has been a tough road, but you just keep progressing up the hill. Like you just got to keep going. You just got
definitely,
to keep
definitely.
going.
That's the only way to go.
Yep. Yep. Um, so would you like to give us a rundown of like if someone wants to work with you outside of this, or if they want to contact you, how can we find you?
uh, Easiest way is probably through my website. It's discovermentaledge.com. Um, on the old TikTok, if you got the TikToks and you're cool like me and Aisha here, you get to and I need to get your handle.
Okay.
But it's Mental Edge, and on Instagram's probably the other best way, and that's _Sammy J.
Okay.
And those are
And
the easiest ways.
how can we purchase copies of your book?
Go to discovermentaledge.com. There's a place
Okay.
until next week. It'll be a pre-order place, and then as of next week, I'll just switch the site, and it'll actually have the Amazon link on there for you. So,
Okay.
but
Oh
yep,
yeah, I definitely want a copy of that.
I appreciate it. What's your link on there? And we're putting that out there for the world and for me. I'm being
Okay.
selfish.
No, you're fine. So we are on TikTok as at Let the Healing Begin 23. And I'm also on Facebook. I just had to create a new Facebook page. So everything, I don't have that many followers and stuff, but I'm on there as Asia S. Wilson, and that's ASHIA S. Wilson. And then I just started another Let the Healing Begin podcast page on Facebook, and that's on there as Let the Healing Begin podcast with Asia. And then, I also have a faith-based t-shirt and hoodie store.
Oh,
Yep. And that's at www.greatergrowthllc.com.
very
Yep.
cool. Very cool.
I
Yeah.
appreciate your time today.
Oh, me too. Me too. I'm right there with you. This was a great just talking to you. It literally, I feel like I'm talking with a friend. Just
I know, like we
me and
met
you could,
before or something.
yeah, we could literally, I think me and you could go out and not have a drink because we're not doing that, but
No.
we could go have dinner, and we'd have a dinner
Dinner,
probably for
yeah.
about 4 hours.
Yeah, we would. They might be ready to put us out.
We'd close down the restaurant.
Yeah, right. Look, I
So, but no,
appreciate your
thank you so
time.
much for having me.
No problem. And you're more than welcome on the show anytime you would like.
Okay. You send me
Okay.
another invite. I'm back on. We'll
I
get it
sure
on.
will. I'm gonna send you my email after this too, so we can stay in contact because I love the work that you're doing, and like you said, you feel like a longtime friend.
Yeah, yeah. So nope. I look forward to the next time.
Okay, likewise. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You too.
All right. Have a great day.
Uh-huh.